What's going on, traders? Hope everybody's having a great weekend. I wanted to recap the futures markets here and do some analysis for the upcoming week, second week of October. Now we're in the middle of the month and moving right along here into spooky season. Of course, we're going to take a look at the economic calendar and do some analysis from the top down on the S&P E-mini S&P futures, as well as the NASDAQ 100. We'll also look at some day trading levels, as well as some other data points that we like to use to kind of formulate a game plan and a bias for the week and see what we can do. Let's start off the video here with, as always, the economic calendar. See if there are any major data points that we want to be aware of coming up this week, October 14th. Let me get the calendar. Okay, here we go. All right, so what do we have this week? All right, well, Monday, the bond market closed and a lot of banks are closed, but the stock market is open. Waller speaking at 3 o'clock. Tuesday, not really much going on. 1 o'clock, we do have a little bit more Fed speak from Krugler. Wednesday, nothing really too important there at 8:30. Not really much of a market mover with import price index. Initial jobless claims at 8:30, October 17th. Well, I'll be paying attention to that. We do have manufacturing index at 9:15 before the market opens. Retail sales at 8:30 as well, but not really anything here. Homer consumer confidence, 10 o'clock. Not really a concern for me. And we have Fed Waller speaking again on Friday the 18th at around 12:10. So very quiet week ahead of us. CPI has come in and we are through that event now. Really not much has changed. Well, let's start off here with the larger time frame on ES. And we did make a new all-time highs. So finally, we have seen a break out of this weekly balance range that we've just been trapped in for a while, and now we've finally seen the break. So this is very constructive here for the E-minis, and it looks like as long as we can hold over, now we certainly have to take it level to level, but we've been talking about that 6,000. I mean, it seems like it is really building up a case for it here into the end of the year. But, of course, level to level as always. So, now we're just going to bring out a couple of levels here that are going to be looking for on the weekly chart, and then we'll pop over right back into the chart that we have been dealing with, but we like to just take a little quick, fresh perspective. Now, we've talked about these highs being tested here, and at the start of the week, that's pretty much where we came right into, right? Right into that the week of the June 15th and June 8th highs. It was pretty much the low of this week. We came in, bulls came in exactly where they needed to, and pretty much made equal lows here, matching, right? So we came in, defended again, and we even said that they could potentially even sell it down into this area, down into 56.81. They didn't even get close to threatening the week of September 16th's low, so there was really no issue there. We were watching, of course, how this area would react, and again, it did pull through for us. So they low there at the 57.20s. All right, so I'm definitely, obviously, going to be watching that, and then we just have to watch that week high that we had put in, right? So now, as long as we see price stay pretty much over 58.30, well, there's really no cause for concern for the bulls. Falling back underneath, that would be the worst scenario for the bulls, but this has not seen. We had a pretty strong close over. Looks like we closed 58 53. So a pretty 20 points over thereabouts of where from the breakout. So I think that that's a pretty, I would say, aggressive or a decent confirmation there. So what we'd also want to potentially look for, maybe through into the midweek, is a back test of that area. It would make sense to me for price to want to come in, retest, see how strong it actually is, see if the bids are actually there, and then we can set up for a next move. If it is supported, I'm looking at that 5,900. So that would be the next ultimate target right around in that area. But if we do break underneath, again, that would be a warning sign, and look for price to come in a bit drastically. Of course, we'll watch that 5,800 figure, but halfway, I think, would be back into the 70s, which we've kind of talked about ad nauseum before in the last couple of videos, being a key area on the daily and weekly time frames that the bulls needed to more or less hold to keep us in the works for this breakout chance here. Now, of course, we've talked about the divergence, and we'll go into NQ in a moment after we get through ES, but NQ, of course, did not make a new all-time high. Neither did RTY, IWM, small caps, the Russell, but the Dow Diggity YM did make an all-time high as well. So we do have some interesting divergence still within the markets, although IWM did have a nice day on Friday with the rest of the market as well. So let's get back into a bit of a daily chart here. Okay. And these bulls really showing here on this candle that how ferocious they are. Every time we came down to the lows, I mean, look, they just did not accept down here at all and just said, no, 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 no. Okay. Now, I will be watching. We are here on the daily overvalue area highs. I don't particularly like that, but we've seen chart can trade over that for an extended period of time, but it is something that I just want to pay attention to. If I flip out to the 2 if you can see here, I flip out to the 2-year, and we are well above the volume area highs here, value area highs. So as you can see, it can trade way longer over it, but it is something that I do like to pay attention to. Here in the short term, you can see the 3-year too is very, very extended from it. Okay. So here we are. We have the structure right here, and what we could also potentially do from the daily point of view, you could see the highs here from the October 7th, 4th right here. So you can really come down, in my opinion, start to build up a bit of a demand zone. You could, if you want to do it by the body, that's, you at your discretion. I'm going to just go up by the highs of the wicks there. That's the way I do it. But I will have that area as well. We could even retrace a little bit. Really, that 5,800 is going to be the make or break. You can see here how it's lining up. Pretty nice confluence with the 9-period moving average as well. And you can see here when we're hitting these lows, of course, with this breakout on Friday, the 20-period has moved up a little bit and caught up. But you can see here when we were just hitting these lows, we were just kind of coming into the 20. We're not really overbought here yet, so this also too here on the Hello Momo says that we could potentially have a little bit more upside on the daily chart, even though we are extended here from the value area highs. Again, we just will pay attention to price being more important. Although I am saying here that the 5806, we can watch that, is definitely important to hold. I would say that breaking back under that 5830 probably would trap some inventory up above, and I would be a little bit more cautious, even though this is an area, and you'd have to say, okay, this is a daily area. You have to at least give it a shot, maybe with a 6, along with a 6-point stop there. Stopping out under that 5,800. But I would be a little bit more cautious on that type of trade, especially if we fail back below, because we, like I said, we probably or possibly then would create a lot of overhead inventory here, and they are going to just really drive price down, and more than likely we would come back into the box once again and see that the 57.70s would not surprise me. So just be mindful of that as well. But I think it's going to hold. I mean, besides being over value area highs, we're not even, if we were showing super overbought up in this area, I'd be a little bit more skeptical. But the fact here that we have plenty of room, that is fine. Flipping back to the weekly though, okay, we still have a little bit room on the weekly. I mean, sure, this probably area is also getting all the ascending, wedge people, wet dreams here. But really, it's nothing but a channel. But you can certainly kind of make an argument that it's starting to get the rate here, the slope starting to get a little dicey. But again, it really doesn't mean a single dang thing if, all the daily levels are broken that we've already been over and really we break this trend line. So it's really a pointless thing to be looking at this point. A little getting spicy here, but nothing really to cause for concern. We already looked at the monthly at the start a couple of weeks ago, and we saw that of course is, blasted to the max. So that usually takes a bit more time to play itself out. But here we've got our daily levels all mapped out here, and I think that is all good. Everything I wanted to cover for the daily. Let's just take a quick peek. We're kind of in no man's land here with our day trading levels because we are at all-time highs. So, doing a little bit of fib stuff here and mapped out a few things. You can still see here, okay, so we're going to get a little bit more granular, get here into the hourly. Okay. And I just really got two zones here for you. And, to be honest with you, we just made this big move. I wouldn't be surprised to see now, I hate to say it, we broke out of this balance. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe we get another push to try to hit the high from Friday. You can see we did sell a little bit towards the end of the session, but I think that was mostly just profit takers, because if you were long, or if you had been long in this consolidation, or long from down here at the 58.20s, this was quite the payday for you. So I really also now really wouldn't be surprised we made a move up. Watch us see if we kind of balance out here once again. I don't think, we saw this breakout. So I hate to say, watch for a little bit of that sideways price digestion here. Maybe we do actually come back and retest down into that critical breakout area. We went over on the daily right around in those 58.30s there. But we've got the 20, we've got the 9 here. A little spicy on the Momo, on the on the 1 hour. Let's see what we look like on the 4 hour. 4 hour got a little bit more room. 4 hours fine. Okay, but you could really see here. So we're going to have to take out Friday's high, right? And then we could look at potentially 58.80. And I was talking earlier about really looking at that as close to, I had 58.95, but they could potentially hit 5,900. I mean, that's the magnet level. So why wouldn't they hit it, right? And this 0.2 is going to just drive me crazy. So let me just get it like that. But as I mentioned, watch out for that. Really going to be looking here. The bulls would need to get back over 58.60. Then I think they can come out, try to hit these matching highs at the 58.70, 58.69 area. But breaking back under 58.45, we're going to call it. Look at the highs here from 3 o'clock. Breaking back under that, probably see a little bit more selling. I would watch for sales about 10 points down or so. Well, maybe a little bit less. 58.38 area would not surprise me. And then under that, that would give us the big back test into that 58.30. So that's really the areas on ES that I'll be watching more from a day trading perspective as some major pivots. Okay, let's move along to the NASDAQ and see what's going on over there. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's just do a quick peek at our chart from last. I mean, we pretty much hit all the levels that I wanted to from the daily chart perspective. But I just wanted to peek back over what we did, blah, blah, blah. You can see here we took out that weak high, and then that gave us the blast off. I remember talking about that. And so, again, we'll just also have to just extend that right there. And that level is... Oh, yeah. Well, that's the 58.30. Okay, so we were already over it. All right. Well, poor NASDAQ. You can't quite get her. Now, let's get this blank. Oh, I'm on the daily. Let's get on the weekly. There we go. Well, you could even say, on the daily it looked a bit more like it, but we'll go over that here in a second. Okay, now here's something a little bit concerning that I'm just noticing off the top of my head. Now you can see here the lows, we didn't quite match the lows. They came in a little bit more aggressively, right? So we do have a swing low here from the 30th of September that week. And then the week of the 7th here, you can see a higher one. So I think that that is constructive. One thing that I don't necessarily like is, of course, we couldn't even match the week high here from the 23rd. And that is sitting at 2,538. We can just call it 2,540. High from this previous week was just about 500. We had 508. Right, I remember I hit that on the short. Now, if they are able to take that out, from the weekly point of view, why wouldn't we come up, probably trade up into the 600 and maybe about 635, right? 20,635. I could see that being a potentiality right there. Of course, it's a weekly level, so it is going to be a bit higher, but we'll put it there. Either way, more or less, it's still trapped, right? And you can see, you saw the difference on ES where it is up and above with that higher high. Here we made a lower high. So that's, you know, it's a little iffy, but nice rounded here. I like this. Definitely could be a little bit of a, like I said, well, it looks a little clearer on the daily, but there's some type of a cup and handle here. Right, you could see also too structurally, right? This is where we broke out of, right? So what's happening here? We're coming back and retesting this prior area. You can see the wicks here from back in August and July. So it's giving a lot of traffic. I mean, look at probably the amount of liquidity has been traded down there is quite substantial. And you've got the weekly 9 hanging out right there now. Plenty of room here on the weekly, obviously, as it is not even by the all-time highs. Let's go into another one of the charts that we have been watching. Okay, similar situation here. Oh, I don't know what the hell are these. Similar situation here. Kind of already been over it. And yeah. That is good. Okay. And let's get into the daily. So here you could see a little bit more. Maybe we come back a little bit. Maybe we do test the daily 9 here on NQ. But really you can see kind of here you can really see that potential cup and handle building up more here, and we break out over. So again, from this perspective, we still just have to break out of this 5,500. It's all about the lows from July 12th. It's all problem area. And really, I could give it even to here. So if you are looking at maybe a long-term type of if you're bearish on tech, and you see NQ come up into this zone, potential short zone, I would have to say, anywhere from that 550 to about 600, 610. But if they break over and we start to see acceptance over, gonna get my tool, there it is. You start seeing candles hang out like this, right? Okay, well then it's game over for that idea, and we'll probably rip and roar, and we'll see from the daily perspective, we hold that, we'll go all the way to 860, 850, over time, of course. But we'll probably start to trade back up into this, wrong tool, probably trade back up into this area. And just slowly dredge our way up. So that's what I'm thinking there on NQ. If we, let's say if we break under 250, 250 area, that's going to be the most bearish scenario. Look at the highs here, right, like this, right? Sideways, 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 rest, boom, run, rest. Do we get another boom? That's the question. But all I care about is to know that really, I mean, of course there's going to be intraday shorts, but from the daily perspective, unless we're under 20,000, what is this, about 275, 280, down to about 230, it's going to be real tough to get a real short on. But I will say that I think that if we break under that, we'll probably come back down to 120. By that time, I bet this 20 period moving average will catch up, and you really might get a nice long trade there if we do see a sell, because you can see here, sideways, sideways, sideways. Finally, we couldn't break out, finally broke out. So you can even say from here, we had the 20 also moving back up with us. If I can get this thing, my mouse to move. Right, like that. Price comes down to here and then at least a shot back up here. I mean, that's 500, 600 points. Ultimately. If that happened, then of course we would have to contend with some of the old levels again. We'd have to get up over here, of course. But that's why you take partials along the way. So that's an idea. So we have kind of a daily short idea up here or a long idea for a pullback. I mean, again, that first pullback area, in the 60s, you got to think about buying that, right? 260s, 250s in that area. But we'll see. All right, we've got a little bit more clear day trading levels for NQ because it's not really broken out over its zones. So but we are prepared if it does. Okay, so here's our 08, right? This is the area we have not been able to break out of. Balance, 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 balance. Is it distributing? I don't know, but you can see here now multiple times we've tried to break up and over this key area of the 480s. Have not been able to break over. So certainly here now twice, have to kind of assume, we'll have to watch for it, but there's probably some built up inventory here. Now especially seeing 2 rejections in that area. Or, you will have to watch on the depth of market. Or the third time, maybe they break through, right? If they do, we've already kind of talked about a couple of the higher levels on the daily time frame, but I'm going to be watching over, so basically over 20K, what does it mean? About 515. I'm going to really need to be convinced, right? 408 won't. Maybe I should even say over 525. Really convince me there. Watch to see if they break up over that, make a new higher high, wait for that pullback, look at the DOM, see about those bids. They're putting up anything, building a base on over 500, I'd imagine they would. And of course that 510. Hitting that long, looking really 550, 560, 587. Over that 587, we'll look at that figure at 600. And over 600 probably propel us into, now we're talking about here some of those daily levels that we were looking at that we potentially would trade into. So over 600, they'll probably go ahead and try to reach for 650. We start seeing acceptance over that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see 700. Now, what about the bears? Don't want to leave them out. Well, look where they closed here, right at this pivot here, basically right at the figure. The 400 has been a killer buy multiple times here. Boom, boom, boom. Here it got a little bit tricky, but the 400 has been supported very much. Watch to see if they break it again. You probably are going to see more reactions like this because people are going to get swept with their stops. So watch. If that breaks, be very careful. Make sure if you're buying it again to be very cautious and not get in trouble. How many times can it knock on the door, right? So right now we're just stuck between basically 400 and 500. And you could even say between 400 and 475, right? So under, I think 400, we can sell back down into the into the 350s. And under that, we could go back down to 300 and potentially look for being a buyer there. And that's about it. This one's pretty easy. It's stuck. Look at the 300 though here on the 30-minute. We'll see what that 200 period moving average does. Because if that lining up, I doubt it's still going to be there, but it's pretty slow. But that lines up with 300. Boom. Gotta take that all day. Really just seeing the box still. Let's watch. I'm going to keep an eye on this hourly point of control. It's going to change, but pretty close to the figure. 418, 415. We are below the hourly 9 though. Not convincingly. I'm just getting pummeled there. You know, actually, I'd like to. The 10. Yeah. Just all bidders here. All the way down to 23. Yeah. Still, you can still see buyers all up in this area. Hourly, and I just want to peek at the 4 hour. Oh, look at this. Four-hour showing us here. Ah, see? 522. So that's the 525 when I said they got to convince me. So still vulnerable here from the bigger picture. Very interesting. All right. Let's move along. Let's look at the dollar. What's the dollar been doing? Kind of run through some of these. Okay. So, again, we had our daily range. Look at this look below here. We kind of were talking about this. This is that bigger picture range that we've been trading in forever. And back inside of it now. So you can see that. Look below, look below. We didn't quite get all the way. Came back, recaptured. Big reaction here. Definitely seeing this on the weekly come up. And getting a bit of a curve here. Definitely some supply still overhead, but that doesn't mean we can't go up a little bit more. Want to see. All right. Okay, so this is interesting. So let's see here. And now we're back into this area here, right, of traffic. Let's see. The daily says the dollar is probably looking for a bit of a pullback. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they could hold this. Maybe maybe it just comes back to test 150, but under that we'll probably test the bottom. I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't know how deep they're gonna make the. Cause we just made a new higher high with this flag breakout. I mean, why wouldn't we come back and retest highs here? Peel off from here, and then from there, head back up. So look for that. 102. Maybe a 102 back test. If the dollar gets over 103.25, we'll flip bullish here on this, and then that will be interesting to see. We're getting a bit spicy here on the dollar. I think it's going to pull back. Okay, let's keep it moving along. Let's look at TNX, which has probably been flying here with the TLT just getting nuked. Okay, kind of calming down here. Right into our zone. Let's get a little bit longer picture. All right, so coming into this area, we were talking about this 41 area. And and it's definitely, where's my other one? Okay, that's not what I wanted. And it's definitely having an issue here, right? So we'll have to see. As long as it still holds over 40.30, I mean, there's really no issue. We'd have probably see this continue to move up. Now over the weekly 20, nine's got to play some catch up. This probably stagnates for a while, I would assume, after such a powerful move in the upward direction. So I would look for, probably that, something like this. I don't know if it's going to be this high or they're going to trade the whole range, but keep an eye on that. Really no reason to get overly bearish on the yields here unless it got under 39.80, right? Confluence here with the 9 as well. I think it's going to pull back. Look at spicy as well here, just like the dollar. Let's look at the RSP really quickly. Okay, I like this. All-time highs there, no divergence. QQQE. Oh. Did it sell off at the end of the day? Not really. Interesting. I'd say that's a bit encouraging. QQQ really didn't drop. NASDAQ fell a lot more at the end of the day. All right. All right, what's going on with the yield curve? All right, cooling down a little bit, still above, but the steepening has slowed down. That's good. VIX 1 day, kind of peeling off a little bit here. Nothing really too extreme quite yet. Let's see if it gets down into the 7s. How many stocks are trading over their 50-period moving average on the SPX? Moving back up. Not looking bad here. Higher low, higher low, higher low, like so. So everything is good there. This is our high, right? High. So that is trending in the right direction. Back almost above 75%. Everything is good there. Everything is good here on the 200 as well. New highs versus new lows got real close to the 0 line, but came back up. No issues there. Still above the 0 line. We are good. What are the junk bonds doing? All right, they're still trending down. I would say this is they are coming back a bit, but I would still say I want to keep an eye on this. For some potential retracement on the market. I mean, SPY comes back to say, watch it around 575, 50 area. Could be a nice buy point there. Coming back on this trend line. Right? Something like that. That's around the 570s, 576, 574 in that zone. If we do get that pullback. Okay. Let's move it along. VEX futures still in backwardation flying up. VIX here, VVIX still elevated over 103 and 105. Getting a little bit of trouble in the 126s. I think, we've got still that geopolitical situations waning on the market, as well as elections. and we're not too far away from the big day. So I think that the market also is kind of a little uncertain about that, and that's keeping VIX also elevated as well. What's going on with the bonds? Getting nuked here. TNX didn't move. I still. Oh wow, we just tore through it. I mean, pretty much a head and shoulders breakout going on here. Let's see if the bonds feel like bouncing. Come up, hit 94, but I think they've got a pretty clear path for about 92. So let's see about 94. Probably get a short up in there. 94 and hit back down, right? We just made a new lower low. It's going to come down. We're in the dumps here. Watch for bonds to bounce. I think I know I was saying about it last week, and I don't think it did, but this might be the spot. This is just continuing to go up. 7 years. Trying to find a base here. Let's see. What could happen here on our ratio between the 7 and the 30. Watch for that to come in back over the 50, give us about a 0 reading. That probably puts us up here, and then this thing will go ahead and continue to go up in anticipation of more rate cuts. And the Dow probably have a divergence here. You could see the Dow making a new all-time high. Boom. What a move. Look at that. That was really the standout on Friday to me, was the Dow just ripping. I did get a piece of it on YM, and it was fun. So let's see. We got a hold now this week high. Let's see. The Dow got a hold over 42,640. Hold over that. As a matter of fact, I am going to create an alert there, because I think that if we break under that, we'll probably sell off pretty decently. So I want to know if that breaks. No new high on transports, so certainly a divergence there. I will pay attention to that as another potential bearish point, as the transports here coming into this 16,265 area had real trouble here before, multiple times. So be careful. Watch transports to potentially pull back down to maybe 16K. Let's take a look. Are anybody offsides as far as put call ratio? Nothing there. And let's look at our VIX. Not looking like a flag here, to be honest with you. A little spicy, but whoops, not what I wanted to do. Boom, boom. Can we see a break through and back up like this? Potentially. Still got to be a bit bullish on the VIX here. As long as it's still over 19, it could even come down over 20. Watch that 20 pivot. It's going to be big, of course. Under 20, and we'll probably cool down into that 19. But still could see buyers come in anywhere in that area and drive us back up. Like so. But I think, again, geopolitical, election around the corner, this is going to stay elevated. So, all right, guys, that's everything I wanted to go over for this week. Not that much data ahead. The divergence is a bit annoying, I'd have to say. So make sure you stick to those trending markets. And remember, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend and prep with me this week. Remember, a prepared trader is a profitable trader. So let's trade our plan and plan our trades. If this is your first time to the channel and you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications so that way you're updated every time we post a new update about the markets. And for the loyal followers and subscribers, everyone that interacts with me on Twitter and on here, love you guys. Smash the thumbs up like button, really helps out as well. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, and I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great one. Bye-bye.